Staying out of business looking clean, money coming through, everybody asking who help me break through that tax guru. Got me thinking big enough, that tax guru. Ain't no looking.
Welcome back to another Tax Guru Tax Crime File story. I'm Tyrone Taylor, enrolled agent, bringing you another real tax crime case. Join me every weekday, Monday through Friday, as I discuss another notorious federal tax crime story you may never heard of. Follow and share this video if you enjoy these stories. Case number 013, famous attorney sentenced to prison for tax evasion and mortgage fraud. Do you think being one of the most respected attorneys in America means the IRS is going to look the other way? Not even close. Today's story is about Thomas C. Goldstein. He argued more than 40 cases before the United States Supreme Court. He co-founded SCOTUSblog, one of the most respected legal news websites in the country. By almost any measure, he had reached the top of the legal profession. But according to evidence presented at trial, prosecutors proved that there was another side to his financial life that eventually landed him in federal prison. Before we get into details, let's talk about one tax principle that applies to everyone. The IRS doesn't care whether your income comes from practicing law, selling cars, owning a business, investments, or even gambling. If it's taxable income, it has to be reported unless the tax law specifically states otherwise. That's where the story begins. According to the Department of Justice, between 2016 and 2023, Goldstein lived what prosecutors described as a secret life as an ultra-high stakes poker player. Now let's be clear. Playing poker wasn't the crime. The criminal case centered on what prosecutors proved happened with the money. According to the DOJ, more than $25 million in income was concealed from the IRS. The government proved that millions of dollars in gambling income was not properly reported. The evidence also showed that legal fees belonging to his law firm were directed into personal accounts to satisfy his gambling debts. Prosecutors also claimed the law firm paid personal gambling obligations, and those payments were falsely recorded on the firm's books as legitimate business expenses. I want you to think about that for a second. A personal expense and a business expense are two completely different things. If you buy something for yourself, you generally can't run it through your business and deduct it as though it was an ordinary business expense. I've seen some business owners attempt to do this, and as you can see, it can lead them into a world of trouble. According to the evidence presented at trial, that's exactly what happened here. The DOJ also proved that Goldstein repeatedly failed to pay federal taxes that were due. Altogether, prosecutors said the tax evasion involved more than $9.5 million in unpaid federal taxes. But the tax charges weren't the end of the story. The DOJ stated Goldstein also made false statements while applying for a mortgage. Prosecutors proved that he omitted substantial liabilities, including unpaid federal tax obligations for mortgage applications. Those omissions enabled him to obtain approximately a $1.98 million mortgage loan. Now remember, when you apply for a mortgage, the lender relies on financial information you provide to determine whether you're qualified for that loan. The jury found those statements were false. The Department of Justice has not publicly identified what first triggered the investigation. The public record states that the investigation was conducted by the IRS Criminal Investigations Division and the FBI. After hearing the evidence, a federal jury convicted Goldstein on 12 of the 16 counts submitted to them. Those convictions included tax evasion, assisting in the preparation of false tax returns, willful failure to timely pay taxes, and making false statements to mortgage lenders. Then came the sentencing. On July 24, 2026, U.S. District Judge Lydia K. Grigsby sentenced Goldstein to 72 months, that's 6 years, in federal prison. He was also sentenced to 5 years of supervised release after serving his prison sentence. The court ordered him to pay more than $3.1 million in restitution, with additional criminal forfeiture to be determined separately. Now here's what stands out to me. This wasn't someone who didn't understand the law. This was someone who argued cases before the highest court in the country. Remember, professional success, education, prestige, none of those changes your tax obligation. The tax law applies the same way whether you're a first-year employee or one of the nation's best-known attorneys. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people believing they can solve personal financial problems by moving money around, calling personal expenses business expenses, or simply leaving income off a tax return. That rarely ends well. The IRS doesn't care how impressive your resume is. It cares whether your tax return accurately reports your income and whether the information you provide to the government or even to lenders is truthful. If you're earning income from multiple sources, especially something outside your primary profession, make sure it's being reported correctly. And if you're using a business, keep your business expenses separate. Those two habits alone can prevent a lot of trouble. If you found this story interesting, be sure to like, follow, and share it to someone who thinks tax law only applies to everyone else. I'm Tyrone Taylor, enrolled agent, and I'll see you in the next story. Real tax crimes, real court cases, real lessons. That Tax Guru Tax Crime File Stories.
Stand out of business looking clean, money coming through, everybody asking who, help me break through that tax guru.